go ahead and get started. My name is Bruce Phillips, wife Patricia. We are doing the cross-playing clinic partly because, well, we've been doing this kind of thing for a while. It started back about 10 years ago? 13 years ago? It really started kicking in one time. I had a friend who was a seamstress, and she said that what she really wanted to do was to make a Xena costume. And I said, I could wear a Xena costume. And wore it to Starfest, won an award in the costume competition. It was a big hit. Nobody ever noticed same gender costumes before, but all of a sudden doing a guy doing Xena that worked was notable. Came back and did Carmen Sandiego, and then did La Femme Nikita. At which point, one of my favorite moments of cross-playing, I was told this by the security guard at the Starfest that year, who said, a guy came up to him and said, "Have you seen the tall blonde in black?" He says, "Yes." "Do you know who she is? I've been following her all over the convention." He said, "Yes, I do." He said, "What's her name?" And he said, "Bruce." And that was pretty much the last you saw the guy. So, yeah. So we were here, so we've done a lot. We've done cross-gender, cross-play at science fiction conventions. We've done them in SCA, etc. And Halloween. We did Gomez and Morticia Addams once. You can guess how we did that one. And so what we're going to do is, while she's going to be showing you and talking to you stuff, I'm also actually going to go ahead and do it and change. If I can get it in 40 minutes, we'll see. Trust me, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot. So anyway, so we're going to show you some of the stuff that we use and some of the stuff we do. Then I'm running and come back while she's talking. First thing I wanted to, so we are going to be talking about male to female and female to male. And so the first thing I want to mention for the guys is the issue of, I want to make it clear that the range of crossplay goes from everything from, I believe the term is trap, from the, oh my gosh, can't tell you're kidding, you know, when you talk and they go, ooh. That kind of reaction, all the way to somebody, a guy who puts on his girlfriend's Sailor Moon outfit and puts a bow in his hair, and there he is. So the whole range, and the reality is you can do whatever you want. If you haven't figured that out here this weekend, I'm not going to be saying to you. But you can, as far as you want to. What we're going to be talking about is if you are wanting to complete that illusion. If you really do want to try to make it as realistic as possible. For those of you who've seen Sailor Bubba on the internet, I'm sorry. If you haven't, don't look it up during the meal. But there are people who do crossplay for the goal of looking as controversial as possible. We'll put it that way.
Everybody has their own reasons and desires and goals when they're dressing as a character, whether it's same-gendered or differently gendered from themselves. In my case, it's generally acting of some sort. Either we've decided to be Morticia and Gomez for Halloween, and I want to be as good a Gomez as I can. Or, you know, it's a case of I'm in a production of a Shakespearean thing down in Colorado Springs, and I want to portray that person as well as I can. So for me, a lot of it tends to be characterization and movement and trying to be as believable in this costume as I can be. Some people, they want to do it just because, you know, I don't care as long as I look good, whether I move the way that person would or not. So we're going to be covering a wide variety of issues and take from it what you want and what you need, and don't worry about the rest of it.
One quick comment I will make, and that is that if your goal is to be believable and fool people, number one, you will never be sure if you did or not unless they say something. Times that I went, oh my gosh, they knew I was a guy, bummer, and I find out later this woman was, her lesbian, her girlfriend was upset with her for hanging out with me. Which was, and I thought there was no doubt in their minds. Another time you think, hey, I've got this going, and they go, and so how long have you been dressing like a girl? But the main thing to remember is not are you fooling people, but the object is so that you are looking as good at it as possible. So even if somebody says, you know, yeah, you're a dude dressed like a girl, but man, you do that well. You know, that's so you can at least do it to the best of your ability. Real quick, and then I'm going to run off and do some changing and become a better person, I hope. The first thing about for guys is shaving. If you want, make sure that if you shave, you're going to shave everything that's going to be shown. hairy arms, hairy legs, kind of a giveaway.
The backs of your hands, your knuckles. Some guys have very furry knuckles. Now, some women, like me, have fuzzy arms. But if you're a guy trying to convince people you're a woman, you don't want them looking at the arm hair and going, are those real boobs? No, no, no. You want to take as many feminine cues to yourself to cover the masculine ones you can't help. So you can't sit there and say, well, you know, well, look at her. She's a real woman and she's got fuzzy arms, so I don't have to shave my arms. No. Because that's just one more thing that they're going to sit there and go, got awfully hairy arms for a girl. Maybe you're not a girl, okay? And the reverse is also true.
Real quick, can I just take a picture of you before you transform?
Oh, sure.
The before picture.
Now, one of the quick things is, so that can mean shaving arms, it can mean shaving legs, depending on what you're wearing. If you're wearing a pantsuit, the whole thing, you don't have to shave more than you need to. I do need to warn you a couple of things though. First of all, be aware that you want to shave so that you will look halfway decent when you're not dressed as a girl. So if you say, well, I'm only going to shave my wrist, so I'll shave my arm up to here. Yeah, that's going to work with short sleeves. The other trick is that you want to make sure. I had one of those delightful moments when I was in my Xena costume at the Colorado Renaissance Festival. And a woman came up afterwards after I'd bent down to pick something up and she said, shave higher on your back of your legs next time.
Oh.
Kind of neat. But also be careful when you're shaving, just a couple of quick notes, whenever you're anywhere near where the bone is near the skin, elbows, wrists, ankles, women know some of these danger spots. It can be really kind of weird. One time I accidentally was having trouble right around here and I slashed myself, and later someone said, oh my gosh, you cut yourself, what happened? I said, well, I cut myself shaving. That kind of took them for a minute. So real quick, so once you shave what you need to, chest or whatever, you don't have to shave things that aren't going to show. You don't need to worry about that. But then it comes to the main issue, and she's going to talk about it from going from girl to guy. One of the main issues, of course, is shape. What can you do to help for your body to be the right shape? And again, as Trish was so accurate in, you want to give every cue possible. They're not going to sit there and mentally, every time they see somebody, analyze, am I doing, do they have wide hips? Do they have, you know, but if you're doing it, you want every little possible subconscious cue to go your way. So for example, so padding doesn't just mean boobs. Because one of the most definable elements of a female is the body shape, which means the hips and the shoulders and the waist. And so since I'm fairly, in order for me to get any kind of appropriate shape whatsoever, I have to do a lot of padding and a lot of tucking in. Now when it comes to, so for example, I have hip pads. Now you can buy ones that are just little bun pads. You can get those at Frederick's or places like that. These are actually from a place online. Blanking on the name. This is, but the, what's her name? Anyway, I'll remember eventually. But you can actually order those and you can give them your measurements and they'll give you ones that are designed to level out with your hips. But at the same time, since I can't just stick out, I also have to wear a cincher to be able to come back in. At one point in time, I had to go to the bathroom and I realized at this part of my body I had 8 layers of clothing.
Oh, wow.
So, and then of course, whether you're using a bra or whether you're using a bustier, there are a variety of options for, you know what's really cute? All the women are going, you have a variety of different kinds of pads. You have just basic ones that you can use. Some of the more expensive ones, the silicone, and sometimes even combining them to be able to cover for that. One of the things, if you can't afford to buy all this, simply, you know, padding. I've known people who've used socks, you know, strategically located. Different things to use for your chest is a variety of things. One popular choice is a pantyhose with